Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and welcome back to another cryptocurrency video. And today I wanted to talk about the three possibilities that I see playing out on Bitcoin. Now, the first one is going to be a long-term bullish projection saying that Bitcoin is actually bottomed out in here and it's heading back up towards $17,000. The second one is going to be a short-term bearish but long-term bullish prediction saying that Bitcoin is going to come to a new low, but after that it's going to head back up towards that $17,000 target. And then the third one, of course, is going to be the long-term bearish prediction that Bitcoin's actually heading to new lows below this $3,000 support that we previously had about this time last year. So if you guys are interested in hearing about this and why I think that this is the most probable option, go ahead and stick around and I will make sure to go ahead and explain all of this in depth. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's go ahead and dive on into this. Now, let's talk about the bullish option one first, because I'm sure that's what the most people want to see and hear about. So with the bullish option, this is the idea that Bitcoin has actually bottomed out at 3K and that this is the bottom of this swing low attempt and it's going to head back upwards from here. Now, while some people do believe this, there are other theories, which is again why we're going to be talking about two other possible ones, really having our bullish, our bearish, and our kind of in between. So with this one states that we actually have bottomed out around this 6.5K area. Basically saying that the strongest form of resistance is now going to be our support. We saw this great bounce. We're having the break, hook, and go over in here. Again, breaking out of this falling channel, once again using it as support. And people believe that this is just going to be the beginning of a continuation in an uptrend. Also, people have been talking about, and for this we're actually going to have to look at this on a 4-hour time scale. But moving to a 4-hour time scale, we can see pretty clearly that if we want to draw up a head and shoulders of sorts, we can certainly in the least argue one. Because if we look at this, we have our left shoulder, our head, and then our right shoulder, which is something that I have seen people talking about, asking me, Brendan, could this very well just be a head and shoulders formation? And the reason why this is so significant is because a head and shoulders formation is a reversal formation. It's not really a continuation pattern, but it's a reversal formation, excuse me. So if this is going to be a little head and shoulders in here, it could very well say that, this could be the end of this downtrend in the short term and that things are ready to reverse and move back upwards and conquer some new levels of highs, which we have listed on this chart. Ultimately, with $17,000 being the ultimate goal because of it just being the most recent swing high from January of 2018. So if this is actually going to play out like it's a head and shoulders, this is, again, just another argument from the bulls, along with everything else. People tend to think that this is a great area for Bitcoin to bottom, and that's kind of the bullish outcome, which definitely does have some substance behind it, and I understand why people are kind of believing in this, but I do want to go ahead and make sure that I am talking about the other two as well. So now getting into the in-between, is this, or really it's the idea that Bitcoin, while it has fallen and has a little bit farther to go, the trend is your friend, and this is currently very, very clearly in a downtrend. I mean, you can see that the consistent lower swing highs just time and time again on Bitcoin and the consistent lower swing lows have just proven that this is a downtrend in and of itself, and that this is actually going to continue for just a little bit longer. It's going to come back to a little bit more of a crucial support area, and then it's going to bounce and then head back up to conquer some of these recent highs that we have on Bitcoin. Now, personally, I believe that this one could come all the way down to around the mid 5,000 range before seeing any kind of significant bounce, and I'll explain that in just a second. But basically, the idea is that it continues in this downtrend for just a little bit further, bounces around this $5,500 area, and then starts heading back to conquer some of these highs. Now, the $5,500 area is pretty significant for Bitcoin because what this kind of says is that this is relatively the bottom of 2018, and then of course this is this former resistance now turned support area that we have from the 786 Fib retracement, as well as some local swing highs from back in April and May of 2019 this year. So with this $5,500 area also being down in this area, you're also approaching the heart line of this falling channel that we've seen Bitcoin bounce around in quite a lot this year, especially in the past couple of months. So with Bitcoin falling down into this range, I think that it definitely could be a great area for Bitcoin to bottom. However, if it does want to break the support and continue heading down, this is where we get into our third and final possibility for Bitcoin, in my opinion. So the third and final one is basically just saying that this is just, and we're gonna have to go to the one-day chart to kind of expand on this theory, but basically saying that this is just the beginning of a continuation pattern from 2017, 2018, and moving into 2019 and 2020, saying that the overall trend of this is now downwards, and Bitcoin's going to continue following this trend into new lows, probably reaching into the $2,000 or $1,000 area, or I had that a little bit wrong, breaking into the $2,000 or $1,000 area, coming down and probably testing this 1K region before seeing any kind of significant bounce. Now, we do know that there is a ton of support built up over at the $1,000 region, again, depending on what exchange you look at and where what set of order books you are looking at, but the 1K support for Bitcoin is very significant and very substantial, so I don't really see it getting much further below that. But I certainly do think that if it wants to continue this and the greater downtrend, saying that this is an ultimate lower swing high, and now we are getting ready for the ultimate lower swing low, which could very well be in this 1K region before having any kind of another parabolic market cycle to the upside. Now, we can see that very clearly volume has started to fall off again on Bitcoin, which would lead me to believe around the beginning of 2020 or sometime around the start of 2020, we would get another large move coming in on Bitcoin. We could very well see some consolidation in the meantime, but what this theory is overall stating is that the macro of this has now turned bearish for the first time in cryptocurrency's lifetime. Because if you guys go and you look at a full-on history chart of Bitcoin, well, you can't really see it on here. If you were to zoom in, the overall macro of cryptocurrency has been bullish for the past 9-10 years or so. It has pretty much had a new high every year or two, with considerable gains for anybody who held it for longer than a year or two, really no matter where you bought. The only exception to this rule being, of course, 2017, which is really where people are arguing that this is no longer applicable, and we're having our first real bear market that cryptocurrency has ever experienced. And it's one of those situations where if Bitcoin's actually, and cryptocurrency in its entirety, are able to survive this bear market, it's here to stay for good. But if it can't survive its first bear market, it's like surviving the first winter. If you can survive the first one, you have you have the experience and the knowledge of how to survive the rest of them. The same rule kind of applies to cryptocurrency. So by no means am I arguing that cryptocurrency is going to die from here, and I completely think the opposite. But the argument of the people who do think that cryptocurrency is coming for a new low, for the most part, are saying that cryptocurrency is really in its first real bearish winter that it's ever had. And this is why it's going to just be a continuation as the lower swing high, and now we're getting ready for the lower swing low in this $1,000, $2,000 area for Bitcoin. Because if this $3,100 support breaks, I think it's going to get very volatile very fast. And in fact, there are a lot of support levels that it needs to hold before then, again being the $5,500 area, the $4,200 area, and of course the $3,100 area. Now, if any of these big supports break, again, I think you can expect some volatility to increase. And in addition to all of this, I mean, you have a death cross on the one-day chart, which is very clear over in here. We have the death cross now formed on the one-day chart, which is a little bit scary for anybody who does want this to be a bullish mid to long term. But also, we have this exact same scenario on the 4-hour time scale, saying that we also have a death cross over on here. Now, something I want to highlight before I end this video is that if you are looking to just trade this and like some technical analysis, look at the 50 EMA on the 1-hour time scale. As of recently, it has been getting used very, very well. Over in here, we see that it's very clear resistance, breaks above it, now getting used as support, broke above it, and now being used as support once again. And then, of course, now that it has broken down below it, we see resistance and multiple other rejections of resistance from this 50 EMA on the 1-hour timescale of Bitcoin. So this is really the 3 overall theories that I see playing out for Bitcoin, and these are the ones that I definitely believe to be the most probable outcomes. While a lot of things certainly can play out, and it can certainly just go sideways and discredit all of these theories, I think that those are the 3 areas that are definitely the most probable for Bitcoin to retrace to. Now, this is using consolidation support, fib retracements, parallel channels, local swing highs, pretty much everything that I could think of combining into this information. So I hope you guys did enjoy this. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Are you guys bullish? And which one of these 3 options do you guys actually believe could play out, the best from here on out. So thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will see you guys in the next video.